Disclaimer: the information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, or real estate advice. I am not a lawyer, attorney, or licensed financial advisor. Real estate laws and divorce proceedings vary significantly by state and jurisdiction within the United States. Viewers should consult with a qualified attorney or a real estate professional regarding their specific situation before making any decisions. Your house is about to become the biggest financial battleground of your divorce. And right now, you are set up to lose. Not just lose money, we're talking tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, but lose time, lose your sanity, and potentially lose the very asset you're fighting for. Think about the biggest financial decision you've ever made. For most of us, it was buying our home. Well, selling that same home during a divorce is a 10 times more complex, 10 times more emotionally charged, and 10 times more financially risky transaction. And almost nobody is prepared for it. Most people think, okay, we're splitting up. We'll just call our friend who's a real estate agent, sell the house, and split the money. Simple. That single thought, that one assumption, is the starting point for a financial catastrophe that ruins lives. It's the mistake that turns a difficult situation into an absolute nightmare. Because selling a house in a divorce isn't a real estate transaction. It's a crisis management operation with a real estate component attached. And if you treat it like a normal sale, you are walking directly into a minefield. The average real estate agent, the one who sold you the house or who helps your cousin's friend, is trained to handle a happy couple buying their dream home or a family upgrading to a new build. They are not trained to be a neutral third party in a high-conflict emotional war zone. They aren't equipped to navigate the complexities of court orders, temporary restraining orders on assets, or what happens when one spouse refuses to sign a document out of pure spite. They don't know the specific legal language that needs to be in a divorce settlement agreement to protect both parties during the sale. They are, with the best of intentions, completely out of their depth, and their inexperience will cost you everything. So what is this video? This is your playbook. This is the guide you need to protect your single largest asset from being destroyed by the process of your divorce. Over the next few minutes, we are going to pull back the curtain on the specialized world of real estate and divorce. I'm going to show you why the traditional approach is fundamentally broken. I'm going to explain the unique and critical role a real estate agent must play in this situation. A role that goes far beyond just listing your property on the MLS. And most importantly, I'm going to give you the knowledge and the questions you need to ask to ensure you have the right expert in your corner. Someone who can shield you from the common pitfalls that cost divorcing couples an average of 15 to 20% of their home's equity. That's not a small number. On a $500,000 home, that's up to $100,000 vanished into thin air because of mistakes that were entirely preventable. By the end of this video, you will understand how to secure that money for your future, not lose it to conflict and incompetence. Let's start with the fundamental problem. In a normal home sale, you have two parties, the buyer and the seller, with opposing goals. The seller wants the highest price, the buyer wants the lowest. But within the selling party, let's say a happy couple, there is one unified goal: get the most money possible. All communication, all decisions flow from that shared objective. Now let's look at a divorce. You still have a buyer on the outside. But on the inside, on the selling side, you no longer have a unified team. You have two individuals who may have wildly different, and often destructive, objectives. One spouse might want to sell fast to just be done with it, even if it means taking a lowball offer. The other might want to hold out for the absolute highest price, refusing to make any repairs or concessions, dragging the process out for months. One spouse might be living in the home and intentionally making it difficult to show to potential buyers, sabotaging the sale. The other spouse might be using the sale as leverage in the custody battle. Suddenly, the goal isn't just get the most money. It's a tangled web of anger, resentment, fear, and strategic maneuvering where the house is just a pawn. This is where the standard real estate agent fails. Their entire business model is built on a cooperative, unified selling party. They'll call one spouse for a decision, then get a completely different instruction from the other spouse an hour later. Who do they listen to? Whose instructions are legally binding? What happens when one spouse agrees to a repair request from the buyer, and the other refuses to pay their half? The agent is caught in the middle of a marital dispute they are not trained, or legally allowed to mediate. They become a messenger in a war, relaying hostile communications back and forth. The transaction grinds to a halt. The buyers get spooked by the drama and walk away. The house sits on the market, gets stale, and the price drops. And all that equity you both worked so hard to build? It evaporates. It pays for the extra mortgage payments, the taxes, the insurance, and the ultimate price reduction you'll have to take just to get the house sold. This is why the role of a real estate agent in a divorce must be completely redefined. You don't need a salesperson. You need a neutral, expert project manager. You need a specialist who understands that their primary job is not just to sell a house, but to manage the conflict between the sellers to ensure the asset is protected. This is often a real estate agent with specialized training and certification in divorce real estate, someone who understands the legal framework and can work hand-in-hand with the family law attorneys. Their role is to be the single, unbiased point of contact. They aren't his agent or her agent. They are the agent for the house, representing the court and the asset itself. Their duty is to both parties equally, and their mission is to execute the sale with the precision of a surgeon, following the letter of the divorce decree or court order. Think of it this way: if you needed heart surgery, you wouldn't go to your family doctor. Your family doctor is great, they're skilled, but they are a generalist. You would go to a cardiac surgeon, a specialist who has spent their entire career focused on that one complex, high-stakes procedure. A divorce is financial open heart surgery. Using your neighborhood real estate agent is like letting your family doctor hold the scalpel. The intentions might be good, but the outcome is likely to be a disaster. The specialist, the divorce-trained real estate agent, knows exactly how to navigate the operating room of family court. They establish clear communication protocols from day one, often insisting that all communication be in writing and include both spouses and their attorneys. This immediately stops the he said, she said game. It creates a transparent, documented record of the entire process, which protects everyone involved. They know how to set expectations and create a detailed marketing and sales plan that both parties agree to and sign off on before the house ever hits the market. This preemptively eliminates dozens of potential future disagreements about showing times, open houses, and price adjustments. They become the buffer, the professional who absorbs the emotional turmoil and translates it into logical, business-driven decisions that serve the one goal that everyone should be focused on: maximizing the financial outcome for the divided family. This neutrality is not just a nice-to-have. It's the single most important factor in a successful divorce home sale. It's the secret weapon that preserves your equity and your sanity. So let's break down what this secret weapon, this unwavering neutrality, actually looks like in the real world, because it's far more than just a friendly smile and a promise to be fair. Imagine a standard real estate agent, maybe someone you used before, a friend of a friend. Let's call her Susan. Susan has known one of the spouses for years. They're in the same book club. She sold them the house in the first place. On the surface, this seems great, right? A trusted friend. But in a divorce, this pre-existing relationship is a landmine. Every phone call Susan makes to her friend, every casual text, becomes a source of suspicion for the other spouse. What are they talking about without me? Are they making decisions behind my back? Is she trying to get a better deal for her friend at my expense? Suddenly, the agent isn't a neutral facilitator. She's perceived as an ally for the other side. The trust evaporates. The process grinds to a halt, buried under an avalanche of paranoia and accusation. This isn't Susan's fault. She's a good agent. But she's playing a game without knowing the rules. A specialist, on the other hand, walks in with a completely different playbook. Their primary allegiance isn't to a person. It's to the process. It's to the asset, the house. Their client isn't husband or wife. Their client is the dissolving marital entity. This might sound cold or clinical, but it's the most compassionate and effective approach you can take. It means that from the very first meeting, the rules of engagement are crystal clear and non-negotiable. The first rule is about communication. A divorce-trained agent will establish a communication protocol that is bulletproof. It's designed to eliminate suspicion and create a transparent, verifiable record of everything that happens. Think about it. In a divorce, communication is the first casualty. It's broken, weaponized, or non-existent. The agent cannot afford to get caught in the crossfire. So they mandate that all substantive communication happens in writing, typically via email, with both spouses and sometimes both of their attorneys copied on every single message. Every single one. There are no quick update phone calls to one party. No just wanted to check in text to the other. If a buyer's agent calls with a verbal offer, the specialist will say, "Thank you, please put that in writing and email it to me," so they can then forward that written offer to both parties simultaneously. This isn't about being difficult. It's about creating a level playing field. It ensures both spouses receive the exact same information at the exact same time, in the exact same way. This single practice extinguishes countless potential arguments before they can even start. Prevents the he said, she said game. Well, my agent told me the offer was for $550,000. Oh, really? Because my agent told me it was $540,000 and we had to fix the roof. With a specialist, that conversation never happens. There's only one email with one set of facts sent to everyone. It's a paper trail that can, if necessary, be shown to a judge. It's accountability in its purest form. Now, this leads to the agent's expanded role. They aren't just a salesperson. They become the project manager of the home sale. They are the calm, neutral hub in the center of a chaotic storm. Think of them as an air traffic controller. You have two pilots, the divorcing spouses, who aren't just flying different planes. They're actively trying to fly in opposite directions. Then you have their legal teams, the attorneys flying in their own formations focused on the legal strategy. You have lenders, inspectors, appraisers, and title companies all circling the airport. The specialized agent is the one in the tower, coordinating all of this movement, ensuring no one collides, and guiding the single most important asset, the house, to a safe landing. They speak the language of attorneys. They understand that a home sale and a divorce isn't just a financial transaction. It's a legal event. They know how to read a divorce decree or a settlement agreement to understand what the court has ordered regarding the house. Is there a deadline to sell? Is there a specific way the proceeds must be divided? Who has the authority to sign documents? A regular agent might be completely lost trying to decipher this. A specialist knows to ask for these documents up front. They will coordinate with both legal teams to ensure the purchase and sale agreement doesn't contradict the terms of the divorce. This integration with the legal process is something most real estate agents never, ever have to deal with. For a divorce specialist, it's just another Tuesday. But what about the inevitable disagreements? This is where the rubber truly meets the road. Let's say the market data suggests a list price of $750,000. One spouse, eager to move on, wants to list at $725,000 for a quick sale. The other spouse, feeling financially squeezed, wants to hold out for $800,000. A standard agent is now stuck. Who do they listen to? If they push one way, they alienate the other party. They might try to play mediator, but they lack the training and the authority. The listing can languish for weeks as the parties argue, missing the crucial window of initial market excitement. A divorce specialist handles this entirely differently. They don't pick a side. They don't guess. They present data. They'll come back with a detailed comparative market analysis, or CMA, showing not just what homes have sold for, but also the days on market for homes priced at different levels. They'll say, here are the facts. Homes in our neighborhood priced around $750,000 are selling on average in 21 days for 99% of their list price. Homes priced near $800,000 are sitting for an average of 75 days, and eventually selling after one or two price reductions for around $760,000. Then they translate that data into real-world dollars and cents for each party. So, option A is listing at $750,000. We likely sell quickly, and you each walk away with your share in about a month. Option B is listing at $800,000. The data suggests this will likely take 3 to 4 months, involve extra mortgage payments, taxes, and insurance costs totaling around $12,000, and we will likely end up selling for around $760,000. After the extra holding costs, the net result is almost identical, but it takes 3 months longer and involves more stress. They depersonalize the decision. It's no longer about what one spouse wants versus what the other wants. It's about a logical financial choice based on objective third-party data. They reframe the conversation from an emotional battle to a business decision. And if the parties are still at an impasse, the specialist has a protocol for that, too. They will refer the decision back to the attorneys or the mediator, stating, "My clients are unable to agree on a listing price. As per our agreement, I need your guidance on how to proceed as ordered by the court." This protects the agent and forces the issue to be resolved in the proper legal forum, rather than in a shouting match in the front yard. This ability to manage conflict, not by winning an argument but by providing a clear data-driven path forward, is what separates the pros from the amateurs. This project manager role extends to every facet of the sale. Take repairs, for example. An inspector finds that the 20-year-old water heater needs to be replaced. It's a $1,500 job. One spouse says, Absolutely not. I'm not putting another dime into this house. The other says, we have to, no one will buy it otherwise. A regular agent might throw their hands up. A specialist will have a network of trusted, licensed, and insured vendors who can not only do the work, but who may also be willing to be paid at closing from the proceeds. The agent can then frame the choice clearly. We can refuse the repair, and the buyer, who is otherwise perfect, will likely walk away. We then go back on the market, disclose the faulty water heater, and future buyers will likely ask for a $3,000 credit or just won't make an offer. Or we can authorize the repair for $1,500, have it paid from the proceeds so no one has to come out of pocket today, and close this deal next week. The net cost to each of you for not doing this repair could be thousands more than the cost of simply fixing it. They turn a point of contention into a simple cost-benefit analysis. This is what it means to be the fiduciary for the asset. The agent's job is to protect the equity in the home at all costs, even from the owners themselves. They are the guardian of the nest egg, ensuring that emotional decisions don't erode the financial foundation you're both counting on to start your new lives. They are the buffer between you and your spouse, and between the two of you and the pressures of the market. They absorb the conflict. They manage the chaos. They provide the structure and the process when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Think about the sheer number of decisions that have to be made when selling a home. Setting the price, scheduling showings, deciding on staging, reviewing offers, negotiating counteroffers, handling inspection items, coordinating the appraisal, and navigating the final closing. In a normal sale, this is stressful enough. In a divorce, every single one of these decision points is a potential battlefield. Without a trained professional running a disciplined process, the sale can easily be sabotaged intentionally or not. One party might refuse to allow showings. One might refuse to sign a counteroffer out of spite. One might leave the house a mess just to frustrate the other. A specialist has seen all of this before. They have strategies laid out in the listing agreement for how to handle these exact scenarios. They set clear expectations for showing availability and home condition. They establish deadlines for responding to offers, often in coordination with the attorneys. They anticipate the problems and build the solutions into the process from day one. This proactive, structured approach is the antidote to the chaos of divorce. But what does that antidote actually look like in practice? It looks like a fortress of process built around a volcano of emotion. It's the difference between a controlled demolition and a chaotic, unpredictable explosion. Without that structure, you get what we see all too often: a for sale sign in the yard becoming a declaration of war. Every showing is a battleground. Every offer is a hostage negotiation. The house, the single largest asset, becomes a weapon used by one spouse against the other. And in the end, both sides lose. They lose time, they lose money, and they lose what's left of their sanity. The specialist agent walks into this potential war zone not as a peacemaker, but as a project manager for a very, very delicate project. Their first job is to become the central, and often the only point of contact. Think about it. In a high-conflict divorce, the two parties often can't or won't speak to each other. So, who communicates about the house? One spouse calls their attorney. That attorney then calls the other attorney. That attorney then calls their client, the other spouse. Then the whole process reverses itself to get a simple answer. You've just had 4, 5, maybe 6 separate communications, most of which are being billed at several $100s an hour, just to answer a question like, can they show the house at 2 p.m. on Tuesday? It's an insane, incredibly expensive game of telephone. And every step is an opportunity for miscommunication, delay, and strategic posturing. A divorce-trained real estate agent completely short-circuits this broken system. They establish a communication protocol from day one. This usually involves a group email chain that includes both spouses and both of their attorneys. Every single update, from feedback on a showing to a new offer to an upcoming deadline, is sent to everyone at the exact same time. There are no side conversations, no back-channel deals, no he said, she said. It's pure, unadulterated transparency. This one simple strategy does 3 critical things. First, it eliminates the possibility of one party claiming, "Nobody told me." It's right there in writing with a timestamp. Second, it saves the clients an astronomical amount of money in legal fees. Your attorney doesn't need to be a glorified messenger for real estate updates. They are looped in, they can monitor the process, but they only need to step in when a truly legal issue arises. And third, it removes the agent as a potential pawn in the couple's conflict. A spouse can't call the agent to vent or try to win them over to their side, because that agent's professional duty is to immediately and neutrally relay the substance of that conversation to everyone else on the team. This brings us to the most critical and perhaps most misunderstood role of the agent in a divorce, being the neutral third party. Now, neutral doesn't just mean you don't pick sides. That's the bare minimum. True neutrality is an active, ongoing process of maintaining balance and trust when the entire situation is designed to pull you in one direction or the other. This is why hiring a friend, a family member, or even the agent who sold you the house years ago can be a catastrophic mistake. Let's say your wife's college roommate is a real estate agent. Even if she is the most professional agent in the world, can your husband ever truly believe she has his best interests at heart? Every recommendation she makes, from the list price to the choice of a home inspector, will be viewed through a lens of suspicion. He'll always wonder, is this the best advice, or is this the advice that helps her friend? The trust is compromised from the start, and the entire transaction is poisoned. A true divorce specialist understands this dynamic. They often insist on meeting with both spouses together for the initial consultation. If that's impossible due to a restraining order or extreme conflict, they will conduct two separate but identical meetings, presenting the exact same market data, the same marketing plan, and the same communication rules. They work tirelessly to demonstrate their impartiality. They don't just CC everyone on emails. They actively avoid developing a personal rapport with one spouse over the other. The language they use is deliberately depersonalized. It's not, your wife wants to counter at $550,000. It's, the counteroffer from Party A is $550,000. Party B, what is your response? They are Switzerland in human form. They are the objective voice of the property itself, representing the shared financial goal, not the individual emotional needs of the sellers. And those emotional needs can be overwhelming. A house isn't just an asset on a balance sheet. It's a vessel for a million memories. It's the place you brought your babies home from the hospital, the wall where you marked their height year after year, the backyard where you hosted summer barbecues. Selling that home during a divorce feels like putting your entire life on display for strangers to judge, right at the moment you feel most vulnerable. An experienced divorce agent is part therapist, part project manager. They know how to handle the emotional landmines that litter the process. For example, the simple act of showing the home. Let's say one spouse has already moved out, and the other, the in-spouse, is still living there. The in-spouse feels invaded, angry, and resentful. They might, consciously or subconsciously, sabotage the sale. They leave the house a mess for showings. They forget to leave when a buyer is coming. They hang around and tell potential buyers about the terrible neighbors or the leaky basement. A standard agent might just get frustrated and complain to the out-spouse, escalating the conflict. A divorce specialist anticipates this. They address it head-on in the listing agreement. They create a clear showing protocol that both parties sign. It specifies the house must be kept in a certain condition, the hours it must be available, and the rules of engagement for when buyers are present. It turns a potential emotional conflict into a simple contractual obligation. They provide resources like a cleaning service or a temporary storage unit, paid for from the eventual proceeds, to make it easier for the in-spouse to comply. They depersonalize the process and provide solutions, not just identify problems. Or consider the moment an offer comes in. This is a classic flashpoint. Imagine a solid but not perfect offer lands on the table. One spouse, desperate to just be done with the marriage and the house, wants to accept it immediately and move on. The other spouse, feeling financially insecure and wanting to maximize every last dollar, wants to counteroffer aggressively and risk losing the buyer. This is not a real estate problem. This is a conflict between two opposing emotional and financial states. A traditional agent is stuck. Who do they listen to? A divorce specialist has a plan for this. From the very beginning, they worked with the couple and their attorneys to establish the why behind the sale. They helped create a net sheet that shows exactly how the proceeds from various sale prices will be divided, and what that means for each person's future. When that offer comes in, the agent doesn't ask, "What do you want to do?" They say, "Let's review our goal. This offer, after closing costs and fees, will result in X dollars for each of you. This aligns with the financial plan we discussed. A counteroffer might gain us Y, but it carries a Z% risk of the buyer walking away. Let's make a data-driven decision, not an emotional one." They recenter the conversation on the shared objective, taking the emotional heat out of the decision and guiding the couple toward a logical conclusion. They are the calm in the storm, constantly steering the ship back toward the mutually agreed upon destination. This ability to manage personalities, de-escalate conflict, and maintain strict neutrality is a unique and hard-won skill set. It's not taught in any real estate licensing course. It's learned in the trenches through specialized training and, frankly, by navigating dozens of these incredibly difficult situations. But being a master communicator and a brilliant therapist is only half the battle. The agent also has to be a quasi-paralegal, navigating a maze of court orders and legal documents that can completely derail a sale if misunderstood. And that's where most traditional agents, through no fault of their own, are completely out of their depth. Let me give you a real-world example of what out of their depth looks like. It's a story about a couple we'll call Mark and Sarah. Their divorce was, to put it mildly, a war. After a year of bitter fighting, they finally reached a fragile truce on one single point. They had to sell the family home. The house was a beautiful 4-bedroom colonial in a desirable suburb, the kind of place that's supposed to represent the American dream. But for them, it had become a prison of bad memories. They hired the top agent in their neighborhood, a woman who had for sale signs on every other lawn. She was brilliant at marketing, pricing, and getting top dollar in a normal market. But this was not a normal market. This was a divorce sale. The agent did her job brilliantly at first. She staged the house, took stunning photos, and within a week, they had a fantastic over-asking price offer from a young family. Mark and Sarah, for the first time in months, felt a tiny glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could get through this, sign the papers, take their money, and finally move on with their separate lives. The contracts were signed, inspections were done, and the closing date was set. Everything was moving forward. Then 10 days before closing, the phone call came. It was the title company. The title agent, in a very calm procedural voice, informed their real estate agent that they couldn't issue a clear title insurance policy. Why? Because there was something called a lease pendens filed against the property. The real estate agent, the top performer in the neighborhood, said, "A what? A lease pendens? Okay, well, just tell their attorneys to get rid of it. We have to close in 10 days. She treated it like a minor clerical error, a piece of paperwork to be shuffled away. She had no idea she had just stepped on a landmine. You see, a lease pendens, which is Latin for suit pending, is a formal public notice that a lawsuit is in progress that directly affects the title to a piece of real estate. In a divorce, it's a legal tool one spouse can use to prevent the other from selling, refinancing, or taking out a second mortgage on the marital home without their knowledge or consent. Sarah's attorney had filed one at the very beginning of the divorce to protect her interest in the property, a standard and smart move. But now it was a giant red stop sign planted firmly in the middle of their transaction, and their agent didn't even know what it was. The next 10 days were a slow-motion catastrophe. The agent kept calling the title company, the attorneys, and the clients, saying, "We need to get this handled." But she had no idea how to get it handled. She couldn't explain to the buyer's agent what was happening. So the buyers started to panic, thinking there was something fundamentally wrong with the house. Mark's attorney and Sarah's attorney, who were already hostile to each other, started pointing fingers. "You need to withdraw the lease pendens," one would yell. "Not until my client's funds are secured in escrow," the other would shout back. The agent was caught in the crossfire, completely paralyzed. She was a salesperson, not a legal navigator. The closing date came and went. The buyers, whose mortgage rate lock was about to expire, delivered an ultimatum: clear the title in 48 hours, or they were walking away and suing for their deposit and inspection costs. Mark and Sarah were on the verge of not only losing their perfect buyer but also being dragged right back into court, facing thousands in new legal fees, and being stuck together in that house for months, maybe even another year. All because their agent didn't understand 2 Latin words. A divorce real estate specialist would have asked for a copy of all court filings related to the property on day 1. They would have seen the lease pendens, immediately understood its purpose and its power, and coordinated with both attorneys before the house was ever listed. They would have had a stipulation and order drafted and signed by the judge, ready to go. This document would provide a clear set of instructions. Upon the sale of the house, the lease pendens will be released, and the proceeds will be held in a trust account by a neutral third party until the attorneys or the court decides how to divide them. It's a standard procedure for a specialist. It's an unsolvable crisis for an amateur. In Mark and Sarah's case, they were saved at the 11th hour, but only after incurring thousands in extra legal fees and nearly losing the entire deal. The emotional cost was immeasurable, and the lease pendens is just one of the legal tripwires. What about a TRO? A temporary restraining order. In many states, when a divorce is filed, an automatic TRO goes into effect. This order often freezes the couple's assets to prevent one spouse from draining the bank accounts or, you guessed it, selling the house out from under the other. An agent who doesn't know to check for this might list the house, get an offer, and then discover the entire sale is in direct violation of a court order, a move that could land their clients in contempt of court. Imagine the fallout from that. The buyers could sue everyone involved. The judge would be furious. It turns a difficult situation into a legal and financial nightmare. Then there's the court order for the sale itself. Sometimes a judge has to force a sale when a couple can't agree. But these orders are not simple suggestions. They are legally binding documents with very specific terms. The order might state a minimum acceptable sales price. It might set a hard deadline for when the house must be sold. It might dictate exactly which repairs must be made before listing, and who has to pay for them. A traditional real estate agent might look at a house and say, okay, let's list it for $500,000. But if the court order explicitly states the property cannot be sold for less than $525,000, that agent has just set their clients up for failure and a potential trip back to see the judge to explain why they ignored a direct order. A specialist reads that court order like a blueprint. They don't just skim it, they dissect it. They understand that every single sentence in that document is a rule they must follow. The price, the timeline, the handling of the proceeds, it's all non-negotiable. Violating it isn't just bad business. It's breaking the law. This is why the agent's role transforms in a divorce. They cease to be just a marketer and a negotiator. They become the central hub, the project manager at the epicenter of a storm involving two emotional clients, two adversarial attorneys, a title company, a lender, and a buyer. Their job is to understand the legal framework handed down by the court and build a real estate transaction that fits perfectly within it. They have to translate legalese into a practical step-by-step marketing and sales plan. They must ensure that the actions of the real estate transaction do not violate the orders of the family court. Most importantly, they have to manage the flow of information between all these parties who, in many cases, refuse to speak to one another. This communication role is perhaps the most critical and the most frequently broken part of the entire process. When the agent fails to be that strong, neutral, knowledgeable hub, the entire structure collapses. And the consequences of that collapse are not just a lost sale. They are financial carnage and emotional devastation for a family already at its breaking point. So what does this collapse actually look like? What are the specific tripwires that a standard real estate agent, even a top-producing one, stumbles over every single time? It starts with the most fundamental element of any transaction: communication. In a normal sale, communication is a straight line. The agent talks to the sellers talk to the agent. It's simple. In a divorce, communication isn't a line. It's a web of tripwires, whispers, and broken telephone lines. The untrained agent walks right into the middle of this web and immediately gets tangled. Let's call them Agent A. Agent A calls one spouse, let's say the husband, to discuss a showing request. They have a 5-minute conversation. The husband says, yeah, Tuesday at 4 p.m. is fine, but make sure they know the dishwasher is acting up. Then Agent A calls the wife. She says, Tuesday at 4? Absolutely not. My book club is coming over. And what's this about a dishwasher? He never told me that. He's probably trying to sabotage the sale. Suddenly, Agent A is no longer a real estate agent. They are a messenger, a go-between, a pawn in a game they don't understand. They start relaying messages back and forth. He said this. Well, she said that. Every single message gets filtered through a lens of suspicion and resentment. The original intent is lost, and the emotional baggage attached to it grows with each relay. Delays happen. Showings are missed. Offers are fumbled. Why? Because the agent created a system where they are the single point of failure, caught between two conflicting parties. Gets worse. Often one spouse is more proactive, more responsive. They're the one who always answers the phone, who replies to texts immediately. The other spouse might be grieving, overwhelmed, or just less communicative. The untrained agent naturally starts communicating more with the responsive spouse. It's just easier. But in doing so, they have unintentionally picked a side. The less communicative spouse now sees the agent not as a neutral party, but as an ally of their ex. The trust is gone. Forever. They start to believe the agent is working against them, feeding information to the other side, conspiring to sell the house for less just to get it over with. Every recommendation, from staging advice to a price reduction, is now viewed as an attack orchestrated by their ex, using the agent as their weapon. This is the breeding ground for the whisper campaign. One spouse will pull the agent aside or call them privately and say, "Look, just between you and me, my ex is being completely unreasonable. They don't understand finances. Don't listen to anything they say about the price. They're just trying to be difficult. You and I, we can get this done." The standard agent, wanting to build rapport and close a deal, might nod along, thinking they're just appeasing a stressed-out client. But they've just been poisoned. They've accepted a biased narrative that will color every decision they make from that point forward. A divorce-certified specialist, on the other hand, prevents this from ever happening. From day one, they establish a rigid, unbreakable communication protocol. There are no side conversations, no private texts, no just between you and me phone calls. The rule is simple. All communication of substance must include everyone. This is non-negotiable. It's often done through a group email chain where both spouses and sometimes both attorneys are included. Every offer, every piece of feedback, every recommendation is sent to the group at the same time. It creates total transparency. There is no room for one spouse to manipulate the narrative or claim they weren't informed. It forces the transaction out of the emotional shadows and into the objective light of day. It's not about taking sides. It's about creating a process so fair and transparent that there are no sides to take. The second major tripwire is pricing the home. In a normal transaction, sellers want the highest price possible. Simple. In a divorce, it's a battlefield of competing motivations. You have the revenge price, where one spouse, feeling wronged, insists on listing the home for an astronomically high number they know is unrealistic. It's not about selling the house. It's about making the other person's life difficult for as long as possible, forcing them to keep paying their share of the mortgage on an unsellable property. On the other side, you have the freedom price. This is the spouse who is desperate to get out. They just want it over. They'll say, "I don't care what we get. Just list it low, sell it fast, and let me move on with my life." So you have one person aiming for the stars and another aiming for the door. An untrained agent is trapped. Who do they listen to? Do they split the difference, creating a mediocre price that pleases no one and attracts no buyers? Do they side with the more aggressive spouse to get the listing, knowing full well the house will sit on the market for months, becoming stale and ultimately selling for less? This is a catastrophic error. A divorce specialist approaches pricing completely differently. They remove themselves and the spouses from the equation. They become a neutral conduit of data. They don't offer an opinion. They present evidence. They perform a meticulous comparative market analysis, or CMA, far more detailed than a standard one. They might bring in a third-party appraiser or provide a broker price opinion, or BPO, which is a formal valuation that can be presented as an objective, unbiased assessment. The conversation is then reframed. The specialist says, "Here is the data. Here are the 3 most recent comparable sales in a half-mile radius. Here is the average days on market for a home in our price range. The market is telling us the value is between X and Y. My job and our legal obligation is to sell this property for its true fair market value. The market dictates the price, not me, not your emotions, and not your spouse's emotions. Our goal is to present the home in a way that achieves the highest possible price within this data-supported range." This depersonalizes the decision. It's no longer one spouse winning and the other losing. It's both of them versus the market, guided by an expert with irrefutable data. Finally, and perhaps most critically, the untrained agent is a walking liability in a legal minefield. They don't know what they don't know. A divorce sale is governed by a court order. The listing agreement, the purchase contract, the disclosures, everything must be handled with a level of precision that a standard transaction simply doesn't require. An untrained agent might get both signatures on a contract, but not realize that the court decree specified that one spouse had exclusive rights to approve certain terms. Or they might give advice, trying to be helpful, that constitutes the unauthorized practice of law. Saying something as simple as, "Don't worry, you can decide how to split the proceeds later," could contradict a legal agreement and create a massive post-closing lawsuit. The divorce specialist understands they are an officer of the court in a sense. Their primary duty is to the court's order. They know how to read a divorce decree. They know what language needs to be in the contract to protect both parties. They know how to work with the family law attorneys, not around them. They provide clean, concise, and factual updates to the legal teams, keeping them informed and reducing the chance that a small issue with the sale escalates into a full-blown legal battle that costs the clients thousands in attorney's fees. They are the firewall between the real estate transaction and the legal proceeding. The wrong agent doesn't just fail to be a firewall. They become a fire starter, creating new legal problems through their own ignorance. These three areas, communication, pricing, and legal navigation, are not just details. They are the entire ballgame. And getting them wrong doesn't just risk the sale of a house. It risks blowing up the entire financial and emotional framework of a family's transition. So, if the stakes are that high, how do you prevent the explosion? How do you navigate this minefield where every step could trigger a disaster? You do it by understanding that the real estate agent you choose is not just a facilitator. They are the most critical non-legal professional in your entire divorce proceeding. And not just any agent will do. Hiring your cousin who just got their license, or the friendly agent who sold you the house a decade ago, can be one of the most catastrophic mistakes you make. This situation calls for a specialist, a professional with a very particular set of skills, honed not just in real estate transactions, but in the crucible of human conflict. Think of this person less as a salesperson and more as a project manager for a very delicate, high-stakes demolition. Their job is to dismantle the single largest financial asset of a marriage, extract the maximum value, and ensure the proceeds are divided according to a legal decree, all while the foundation of the structure is actively crumbling. They are part financial strategist, part communications director, part therapist, and all neutral party. Their ultimate client isn't the husband, and it isn't the wife. Their client is the house, the asset. Their mission is to protect its value against the emotional crossfire of the people who own it. The first and most non-negotiable quality of this specialist is absolute, unshakable neutrality. This isn't just a nice-to-have. It's the bedrock of their effectiveness. The moment one spouse perceives that the agent is siding with the other, the trust required to function is gone, completely. And the sale will either implode or become a battleground that racks up thousands in legal fees. Imagine this scenario. An agent, perhaps a friend of the wife, is chosen. During a conversation, the agent says to the wife, "Don't worry, we'll get you the price you deserve so you can start over comfortably." It sounds supportive, right? Harmless even. But what happens when the husband's lawyer gets wind of that? Or when the husband feels the pricing strategy is skewed to favor the wife's wishes over market reality? Every recommendation the agent makes from that point on is viewed through a lens of suspicion. Is the recommended staging company really the best, or just a friend of the wife? Is that offer truly the strongest, or is the agent pushing it because it has terms that benefit the wife's timeline? The agent has lost all credibility as an objective third party. They've become just another player in the conflict, and now instead of solving problems, they are creating them. The deal stalls. The lawyers get involved. The cost of selling the house just skyrocketed, not in commissions, but in billable hours to attorneys who are now forced to litigate the real estate process itself. A true divorce specialist understands this. They establish from the very first meeting that they work for the entity of the sale. They are Switzerland. Their communication protocols are designed to reinforce this neutrality. They will insist on group emails or texts for all substantive updates. If they have a phone call with one spouse, they will immediately follow up with an email summarizing the call to both spouses and, if necessary, both attorneys. They don't relay emotional messages. They don't get caught in the he said, she said. They are a filter, a buffer, translating the emotional turmoil of both parties into the objective, logistical language of a real estate transaction. They become the single, sanitized source of truth for all parties involved. This isn't just good practice. It's a survival mechanism for the sale. The second core competency is acting as a master communication hub. In a standard transaction, an agent talks to their one client or a couple that is on the same team. In a divorce, the agent is coordinating with two clients who are often legally prohibited from speaking to each other, or simply can't do so without a fight. Add to that two separate attorneys, each with their own strategies and communication styles. Then you have the buyer's agent, the lender, the appraiser, the inspector, the title company. The agent is the air traffic controller in a storm, managing flight paths for a dozen different planes that are all trying to land on the same runway. Without this central hub, information gets lost, misinterpreted, or weaponized. For example, the husband agrees to a repair request from the buyer, but the message doesn't get to the wife correctly. She thinks he made a major concession without her consent. It triggers a massive argument and a frantic call to her lawyer, threatening to blow up the deal over a $500 plumbing fix. A skilled divorce specialist prevents this. They would receive the repair request, forward it simultaneously to both spouses and their counsel with a neutral, data-driven recommendation. Here is the buyer's request. Attached are 2 quotes for the repair. The market data suggests that refusing this repair could jeopardize the sale. Please discuss with your counsel and advise on how you would like to proceed by 5 p.m. tomorrow. It's clear, it's transparent, and it's unemotional. It takes the personal conflict out of a business decision. The third, and perhaps most crucial skill is being a data-driven market realist. The family home is never just a building. It's a container of memories, a symbol of a life that was built together. And when that life is ending, the house's value becomes entangled with deep-seated emotions. One spouse might want to price the home astronomically high, not because the market supports it, but as a way to punish the other or to cling to a past life. The other spouse might want to price it ridiculously low, just to sell it fast, get their money, and escape the painful daily reminder of the marriage. Both are emotional decisions, and both will cost them tens of thousands of dollars. A regular agent might try to split the difference to placate both sides. This is a fatal error. A specialist knows that the market doesn't care about your feelings. It only cares about data, so they don't just show up with a few comparable sales. They show up with an ironclad, data-rich case for a specific pricing and marketing strategy. They present a detailed comparative market analysis that is so thorough, it could be submitted as evidence in court, and often is. They analyze absorption rates, days on market in the specific price bracket, list-to-sale price ratios, and the condition of competing inventory. They don't say, "I think we should price it at $750,000. They say, "Here is the data. Properties in our zip code in this condition, priced between $740,000 and $760,000 have a 98% sales success rate within 31 days. Properties priced above $775,000 have a 40% success rate and average 95 days on market, typically selling only after a significant price reduction that lands them back in the $750,000 range anyway." Based on this data, my recommendation is a pricing strategy starting at $759,900 to attract maximum interest and drive offers toward the $750,000 mark. This strategy gives us the highest probability of achieving the best price and terms in the shortest amount of time, minimizing your carrying costs and emotional strain. See the difference? The decision is no longer about his opinion versus her opinion. It's about a logical strategy supported by irrefutable market facts. The agent uses data to remove the emotion and mediate the dispute. They are not just a salesperson. They are a strategist using facts as a tool for de-escalation. These 3 pillars, unwavering neutrality, masterful communication, and data-driven realism, are what separate a specialist from a standard agent. Choosing the right one means you're not just hiring someone to put a sign in your yard. You're hiring a specialized operator to guide you through one of the most financially and emotionally complex transactions of your entire life. But having the right person is only half the battle. They have to operate within a very specific legal framework, one that is often dictated by the court itself. And this is where the process can get incredibly complicated, because the real estate transaction is no longer just a financial decision between 2 sellers. It becomes a legal proceeding. The court's primary objective isn't to get you the absolute highest price or to sell on your ideal timeline. The court's job is to ensure a fair and equitable division of marital assets, and the house is almost always the biggest asset on the table. So the judge in your case can, and often will, issue a court order that dictates the precise terms of the sale. This isn't a suggestion. It's a legally binding command. Think of the court order as the ultimate rulebook for the sale. It's designed to remove the he said, she said from the equation and create a clear, enforceable path forward. A seasoned divorce real estate specialist knows that one of their first questions to the attorneys will be, "Is there a court order regarding the property, and can I get a copy?" They need to read every single word of that document because it governs their every move. What does this order typically cover? It can be incredibly detailed. It might specify which agent the couple must use. In highly contentious cases where the couple can't even agree on who should sell the house, a judge will lose patience and appoint an agent themselves. This person is then considered an agent of the court, and their duty is not just to the sellers, but to the legal process itself. The order will almost certainly dictate the process for setting the list price. This is one of the biggest battlegrounds in a divorce. One spouse, perhaps the one who is more emotionally attached or financially optimistic, might want to list the home for an astronomical price. The other spouse, who might be desperate to move on and cut financial ties, may want to price it low for a quick sale. This disagreement can stall the process for months, all while the mortgage, taxes, and insurance payments continue to drain the marital estate. A court order cuts through that paralysis. It might state that the list price will be determined by the agent's recommended price, based on their comparative market analysis. Or, it might require getting 3 separate appraisals and setting the list price at the average of the 3. It might even set a specific price right there in the order. The agent's role here is to provide the objective, data-backed analysis that gives the court the confidence to make that call. Their CMA isn't just a marketing tool anymore. It's evidence submitted to the court. Then comes the issue of accepting an offer. Imagine you get a great offer, it's 98% of your asking price, and you're thrilled. You're ready to sign and move on with your life. But your ex refuses. Maybe they think they can get more. Maybe they're just being difficult to prolong the process and cause you pain. In a normal sale, you'd be stuck. But in a court-ordered sale, the agent can point directly to the legal document. The order might state that any offer at or above a certain percentage of the list price must be accepted. Or it might give the agent the authority to accept any offer within a pre-approved range. If one party still refuses to sign the purchase agreement, they aren't just disagreeing with their ex. They are defying a direct order from a judge. That can land them in contempt of court, facing fines or even jail time. The agent, in this scenario, becomes the enforcer of the court's will, documenting the refusal and reporting it back to the attorneys, who can then file a motion to compel the signature. The agent effectively takes the emotional power struggle out of the negotiation and replaces it with a clear, legal mandate. The court order also establishes a strict protocol for communication, and this is an area where an inexperienced agent can get into a world of trouble. In a typical real estate deal, an agent might call one spouse with an update, text the other, and have separate conversations. In a divorce, this is a recipe for disaster. It creates suspicion and accusations of bias. One party will inevitably feel like the other is getting preferential treatment or secret information. A professional divorce specialist establishes a communication system that is beyond reproach. The gold standard is written, simultaneous communication. Every single update, every piece of showing feedback, every question from a buyer's agent, every offer that comes in, is sent in a single email to both spouses and both of their attorneys, all at the exact same time. There are no side conversations, no back-channel phone calls. No, let me just give you a quick heads up. The agent's communication log becomes a transparent record that can be presented in court if necessary. This isn't just about being organized. It's about creating a legal shield that protects everyone involved. It ensures that both parties are operating with the same set of facts, preventing one from manipulating the situation by controlling the flow of information. Furthermore, the court order will lay out a schedule with firm deadlines. For example, it might state that the house must be listed for sale by a specific date. It might mandate price reductions if the home hasn't received an offer after 30, 60, or 90 days. For example, the order could say, if no acceptable offer is received within 30 days, the list price shall be reduced by 3%. This is huge. It prevents the fantasy pricing problem from dragging on indefinitely. The agent isn't the bad guy for suggesting a price drop. They are simply executing the predetermined plan laid out by the court. This depersonalizes a very emotional decision. It's no longer one spouse giving in to the other's demand for a lower price. It's both parties complying with a legal requirement they agreed to or that was imposed upon them. Finally, let's talk about the money. When the house sells, where do the proceeds go? In a normal sale, the check from the title company is cut and handed to the sellers at closing. In a divorce, that almost never happens. The risk of one party taking the money and disappearing, or spending it before the assets are formally divided, is far too high. The court order will specify exactly what happens to the funds. Typically, the proceeds are paid directly from the closing into an attorney's trust account or held in a neutral third-party escrow account. That money is frozen. It cannot be touched by either spouse until the judge issues another order for its disbursement. From that trust account, the court will first order the payment of all marital debts tied to the property, the remaining mortgage balance, any home equity lines of credit, property taxes, and of course the real estate commissions and closing costs. Only after all those debts are cleared will the court decide how to divide the remaining net equity. And it might not be a simple 50-50 split. The funds from the home sale are often used to equalize the entire marital estate. If one spouse is keeping a car worth $30,000, The other spouse might receive an extra $15,000 from the home sale proceeds to make the overall division of assets fair. The real estate agent's job is to work meticulously with the attorneys and the title company to ensure that the final closing statement is perfect and that the funds are wired to the correct, court-mandated account. One mistake here can cause massive legal headaches and delays. The agent acts as the final checkpoint, ensuring the financial culmination of the sale aligns perfectly with the legal framework established from the very beginning. They are the nexus between the real estate world and the family court system, translating the court's orders into a real-world transaction. This role becomes profoundly critical when we move from theory to practice, especially in one of the most common and emotionally charged scenarios, the spousal buyout. Imagine this. One spouse wants to keep the house. Perhaps it's to maintain stability for the children, or it's the home they grew up in, or they simply can't bear the thought of leaving. The other spouse needs their share of the equity to move on and start a new life. This is not just a transaction. It's the physical and financial division of a shared history. And right in the middle of this minefield stands the real estate agent. Their first job, and arguably the most contentious, is to establish a fair market value for the property. This isn't about pulling a number from thin air or looking at a Zillow estimate. This is a meticulous, defensible process. The agent must perform a comprehensive comparative market analysis, or CMA. They're not just looking at what homes have sold for in the neighborhood. They are digging deep. They're analyzing the specifics. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath colonial that sold 3 weeks ago for $500,000 is a starting point. But was its basement finished? Did it have the same updated kitchen? Was it on a busy street while the marital home is on a quiet cul-de-sac? Every single one of these details translates into a dollar value adjustment, either up or down. The agent creates a detailed report, often 20 to 30 pages long, a document of pure, unadulterated data. They present this not as their opinion, but as the market's opinion. This is a crucial distinction. It depersonalizes the number. The agent isn't siding with the husband who wants a high value or the wife who wants a low value to make the buyout more affordable. They are simply the messenger of the market. They have to sit down with both spouses, often with their attorneys present, and walk them through the data line by line. Here is why I adjusted this comparable property down by $10,000. It lacks central air. Here is why I adjusted this one up by $15,000. It had a brand new roof, which ours does not. They are educating. They are mediating. They are building a consensus around a number that both parties can trust. A number that will hold up under the scrutiny of the court. But establishing the value is only step one. The next question is, can the spouse who wants to keep the house actually afford to buy the other out? This is where the agent's role expands into that of a financial coordinator. The buying spouse needs to refinance the existing mortgage into their name alone, and simultaneously borrow enough additional money to pay out the departing spouse's equity. Let's say the home is valued at $600,000. They have a $200,000 mortgage, leaving $400,000 in equity. To buy out their ex, the remaining spouse needs to secure a new loan for $400,000, $200,000 to pay off the old mortgage and $200,000 in cash to give to their former partner. Can they qualify for that loan on their own single income? This is a massive hurdle. A seasoned divorce real estate specialist won't just shrug and say, "Go talk to a bank." They have a network. They have mortgage lenders they have worked with for years who specialize in divorce situations. These lenders understand the nuances. They know how to properly document and use things like child support or alimony as qualifying income. The agent makes that critical introduction. They facilitate the flow of information, providing the lender with the valuation report, and working with the buying spouse to gather the necessary financial documents. They are the project manager, ensuring that this crucial piece of the puzzle is solved. And what if the answer is no? What if, after all that, the lender comes back and says the numbers just don't work? This is a moment of profound disappointment and fear. The dream of staying in the home evaporates. This is where a great agent earns their keep. They don't just deliver the bad news. They have to pivot the entire strategy while managing a fragile emotional state. They have to gently, but firmly, guide the couple back to the alternative, selling the property on the open market. This requires an incredible amount of skill. They have to recenter the conversation, moving it away from the loss of one person's dream and back toward the shared goal of a fair and equitable dissolution of their largest asset. They might say something like, "I know this is incredibly difficult news. The plan we hoped for isn't viable. But our primary goal has always been to ensure you both exit this situation financially whole and able to move forward. The market is strong right now, and by selling we can maximize the return for both of you. Let's talk about what that process looks like and how we can make it as smooth as possible. They provide a new path forward when the old one has crumbled. This entire process underscores the absolute necessity of the agent's neutrality. It is their single most important attribute. An agent in a divorce sale doesn't have one client. They have a single client entity with two opposing heads. They cannot, under any circumstances, be perceived as favoring one side. This is why a specialist will establish strict communication protocols from the very first meeting. They will insist that all substantive communication happens in writing, on a group email or text chain that includes both spouses, and, if necessary, both of their attorneys. There are no secret phone calls. No, let me just quickly tell you this conversation's in the driveway. Why? Because the moment one spouse feels the agent is having side conversations with the other, trust is irrevocably broken. The entire process grinds to a halt, mired in suspicion and accusation. The agent is no longer a neutral facilitator. They're seen as a co-conspirator. A professional understands this and builds a fortress of transparency around their communication. Every showing request, every offer, every inspection report is disseminated to everyone at the exact same time. This isn't just good practice. It is the only way to maintain the functional trust required to get the house from listed to sold. They become the ultimate buffer. When one spouse wants to accept a lowball offer out of desperation to just be done with it, and the other wants to hold out for an unrealistic price out of spite, the agent is the one in the middle, armed with data. They bring the conversation back to the facts. The average days on market in this price range is 45 days. We have been on the market for 12. The data suggests that being patient here could net us an additional $30,000, which is $15,000 for each of you. Is it worth a few more weeks to achieve that? They reframe the debate, moving it from an emotional conflict to a business decision with clear financial outcomes for both parties. They translate "I want" into "here is what the market will bear." And in doing so, they keep the train on the tracks. But what happens when the buyout fails or was never an option to begin with? What happens when the for sale sign actually has to go in the yard of a home filled with tension, memories, and two people who can barely stand to be in the same room? That's when the agent's role shifts from a financial analyst to a project manager, a therapist, and a battle-tested negotiator, all at once. And the stakes get even higher, because now the entire world is invited in to judge their home, their life, and the end of their marriage. The first step in this public performance is staging. But this isn't your typical HGTV-style staging, focused on fluffing pillows and baking cookies. This is psychological warfare disguised as interior design. The agent's job is to systematically erase the life that was lived within those walls. Every family photo, every piece of children's art on the fridge, every monogrammed towel becomes a piece of evidence of a failed dream. The agent has to direct this process with the sensitivity of a grief counselor. I once worked with a couple where the husband refused to let a photo of their wedding day be taken down from the mantle. To him, it was the last symbol of what they had. To his wife, it was a daily, painful reminder of a promise that was broken. The agent had to mediate a tearful, hour-long negotiation over a single picture frame. The compromise? The photo was placed in a box, which the agent held for safekeeping until the closing. The goal is to create a blank canvas, a space so neutral that a new family can imagine their own future there, without being haunted by the ghosts of the past. But for the sellers, it feels like their entire history is being packed into boxes and hidden in the garage, long before they've even sold the house. Once the stage is set, the showings begin. And this is where the agent becomes a drill sergeant. A strict, non-negotiable protocol must be established. You can't have one spouse agreeing to a showing while the other is still in their pajamas in the master bedroom. It's a recipe for disaster. So the agent creates the showing Bible. It dictates everything. Showings can only happen, for example, Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m., and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. A 24-hour notice is mandatory, no exceptions. All requests must go through the agent, who then confirms with both parties via a three-way text or a dedicated app. The protocol also dictates the state the house must be in. Beds made, dishes put away, personal items out of sight. The agent often has to create two separate checklists, one for each spouse, depending on who is living in the home or who is responsible for its upkeep. And what happens if one party doesn't comply? What if the husband, angry about the divorce, forgets to tidy up before a showing? A good agent anticipates this. They build in accountability. They might do a pre-showing walkthrough an hour before buyers arrive. They document the condition with photos. They create a system of consequences, sometimes even financial ones, that are agreed upon in writing beforehand. If one party's negligence costs them a potential buyer, that can have real legal and financial repercussions, and the agent's documentation becomes Exhibit A. They are no longer just selling a house. They are enforcing a treaty between two warring nations, and the property is the heavily demilitarized zone. Then comes the ultimate public trial, the open house. For a few hours on a Sunday afternoon, the doors are thrown open. Neighbors who have been whispering for months can now walk through the living room, inspecting the cracks in the walls as if they are metaphors for the marriage itself. Buyers, guided by their own agents, are looking for two things: a great house and a great deal. And a divorce often signals a great deal. They're trained to look for signs of a motivated seller. A half-empty closet, a sparsely furnished room, the subtle but palpable tension in the air. The agent in this scenario is the master of ceremonies, the gatekeeper, and the spin doctor. Their most important job is to control the narrative. The question will inevitably come, sometimes whispered, sometimes asked outright. So why are they selling? An inexperienced agent might stumble, or worse, tell the truth. Oh, it's a divorce. That simple phrase is like blood in the water for sharks. It signals desperation. It invites lowball offers. It tells buyers that the sellers might be more focused on fighting with each other than on negotiating the best price. A world-class agent has a pre-scripted, bulletproof answer that has been approved by both sellers and their attorneys. The owners are downsizing to pursue new opportunities. They're relocating for a fantastic new job. They've loved this home, but their family's needs have changed. The answer must be plausible, positive, and, most importantly, a complete dead end. It gives nothing away. It projects strength and unity, creating a firewall around the client's personal turmoil, and, by extension, their equity. Every interaction is a calculated move. When a buyer's agent asks about the timeline, the answer isn't, they need to sell as fast as possible. It's, the sellers are flexible, but are looking for a smooth transaction with a qualified buyer. When they ask about the furniture, the answer isn't, they're fighting over who gets the couch. It's, all personal property is excluded, but some items may be negotiable. The agent is constantly de-escalating, redirecting, and reframing the situation to protect their clients from financial predators who see divorce as a discount. But behind this professional veneer, the agent is managing an emotional firestorm. Imagine the experience for the sellers. They're often asked to leave their home for hours while strangers parade through, opening their closets, judging their decorating choices, peering into their children's bedrooms. Each showing is a fresh invasion of privacy, a reminder that this sanctuary is no longer theirs. The feedback from buyers, filtered through the agent, can feel like personal attacks. The master bedroom felt cold. The backyard is smaller than we thought. In a normal sale, this is just business. In a divorce sale, it can feel like a critique of their entire life. Our bedroom was cold because he stopped talking to me a year ago. The backyard felt small because we never had time to play with the kids there. The agent has to deliver this feedback with incredible tact, translating market data into actionable advice without pouring salt on an open wound. They have to constantly remind both parties of the objective, to get the best possible price so they can both move on. They are part coach, part therapist, part emotional shield, absorbing the negativity so their clients can stay focused on the finish line. During this intense period, the agent's most critical function is to be the sole conduit of communication. The spouses may have a restraining order against each other. They may only communicate through their lawyers. So every single piece of information about the sale, showing requests, buyer feedback, marketing updates, questions about the utility bills, must flow through the agent. The agent becomes a human router, receiving information from one side, stripping it of its emotional charge, and transmitting the essential data to the other side. A simple text from the wife saying, "I can't believe he left the lawn a mess again before a showing, I'm going to kill him," becomes a calm, professional email from the agent to the husband. "Hi John, just a friendly reminder to please ensure the lawn is mowed before our scheduled showing at 4 p.m. tomorrow. It will really help the curb appeal. Thanks." The agent is a professional translator of anger into action, of panic into process. They are the buffer that prevents the sale from collapsing under the weight of the conflict. And then it happens. After weeks of staging, cleaning, and emotional gymnastics, an offer comes in. Or maybe in a hot market, multiple offers. A wave of relief washes over everyone. The end is in sight. But this moment of triumph is deceptive. It's not the end of the war. It's merely the end of the first major battle. Because now, the two people who couldn't agree on what to have for dinner have to agree on the single largest financial transaction of their lives, and they have to do it under a microscope with a deadline. The negotiation is about to begin. And that negotiation isn't just with the buyer. It's a three-way negotiation. The buyer's agent is negotiating with you, and you, the divorce agent, are negotiating between your own two clients. Every single term in that purchase offer is a potential landmine. Let's say a solid offer comes in. It's 5% below asking price. Spouse, we'll call him Alex, has already moved out, is paying for a new apartment, and is bleeding money every month. He sees the offer and thinks, "Thank God. Let's take it. I just want this to be over." He's operating from a place of financial desperation. Spouse B, let's call her Brianna, is still living in the house, surrounded by memories and feeling the sting of the life that's been lost. She sees that same offer not as a lifeline, but as an insult. 5% below? After all the work I put into this house? No way. They are lowballing us because they know we're desperate. We counter at full price. She's operating from a place of emotional injury. Now what? As their agent, you can't just split the difference. You have to become a shuttle diplomat. You get on the phone with Alex and you validate his position. You say, "I understand your urgency. Let's look at the numbers. At this price, after all costs, you'll walk away with X amount. Does that number work for your immediate needs?" You force him to move from pure emotion to logic. Then you call Brianna. You validate her feelings too. You're right to feel proud of this home. And it's completely understandable to feel like this offer is a low blow. Let's look at the market data again. The last 3 comparable homes sold for this exact price per square foot. If we counter at full price, we risk this buyer walking away. It's the only offer we have. Are we prepared to sit on the market for another 30 days, with all the carrying costs and stress that entails, for a potential gain that the data doesn't support? You're not taking sides. You are relentlessly redirecting both of them back to the objective, data-driven reality. You're the calm in the storm, the voice of reason when their own reasoning is clouded by pain and anger. This dance happens with every single term. The closing date? Alex wants to close in 21 days to stop the financial bleeding. Brianna needs 60 days to find a new place for herself and the kids. The inspection? The buyer wants a $5,000 credit for an aging HVAC system. Brianna says, "It was working fine when he was here, maybe he broke it." Alex says, "Just give them the credit, I don't have time for this." Each point of negotiation is a potential trigger, a chance for old arguments to resurface. You were always so cheap. You were always so reckless with money. The agent's job is to run interference, to translate emotional outbursts into business decisions. You might propose a solution like the seller's paying for a 1-year home warranty for the buyer instead of a huge credit, a compromise that satisfies the buyer's fear and costs the seller's less. You're not a marriage counselor, but you have to be a master-level conflict resolver. And then, finally, after days of back and forth, you get an agreement. Everyone signs. A wave of relief washes over them. It's over. Except it's not. You're just entering the next minefield. The period between contract and closing. This is where the deal is most fragile. First comes the home inspection. An inspector, a stranger, comes into the home and spends 3 hours creating a detailed report of every single flaw. A loose doorknob, a leaky faucet, a crack in the foundation. In a normal sale, this is a negotiation point. In a divorce sale, it's a blame game. The buyer asks for 10 repairs. Alex immediately forwards the list to Brianna, saying these were all on your watch. Brianna shoots back. The water heater you installed is the one that's leaking. The agent has to step in and defuse it. You get quotes from handymen. You create a simple spreadsheet. Here are the 10 requested repairs. Here are the costs. The total is $2,000. The court says you split everything 50-50. That's $1,000 each. Do we agree to make the repairs to save the deal? You frame it as a simple, unemotional business problem with a clear cost. You remove the blame. You focus on the solution. Next up is the appraisal. The bank sends out an appraiser to ensure the house is worth the price the buyer is paying. If the appraisal comes in low, the bank won't issue the loan. Now you have a crisis. The couple has to decide. Do they lower the price to the appraised value? Does the buyer make up the difference in cash? Do they cancel the contract and start all over again? Starting over is the nuclear option. The stress, the showings, the uncertainty, nobody wants to go back to that. The agent has to present the options clearly, discuss the pros and cons of challenging the appraisal, and guide them to a unified decision, even when they feel like they're at their breaking point. Every step, the inspection, the appraisal, the buyer's loan commitment, is a hurdle that can make the whole deal collapse. And all the while, the agent is the central communication hub. You are coordinating with the buyer's agent, the lender, the title company, the attorneys, and both of your sellers who are probably still not speaking to each other. You are the project manager of the dissolution of their largest shared asset. And then comes the day of closing. This is the final act. In many divorce sales, the parties don't even sit in the same room. Alex might sign the documents at 9 a.m., and Brianna might come in at 11 a.m. Or one of them signs remotely from another state. The agent's presence here is critical. You are there to review the settlement statement, the document that breaks down every single dollar. You have to ensure it's perfect, and that it perfectly matches the instructions in the divorce decree. Is the mortgage being paid off correctly? Are the property taxes prorated properly? Are there any liens on the property from a credit card one of them ran up that need to be paid off from their specific proceeds? This is the most important part. The title company can't just cut 2 checks for 50% of the profit. The divorce decree might stipulate that before the proceeds are split, Brianna must be reimbursed for the mortgage payments she made herself for the last 6 months. Or perhaps Alex gets reimbursed for the new roof he paid for just before the split. These are called equalizing payments. The agent's job is to work with the attorneys and the title company weeks in advance to make sure these complex calculations are flawlessly incorporated into the final numbers. A mistake here isn't just a clerical error. It's a violation of a court order and can result in legal disaster. You are the final checkpoint, the last line of defense to ensure the money goes exactly where the judge decreed it should. The ink dries. The keys are handed over. The wire transfers are initiated. And then silence. The battle is over. The house is sold. For the couple, it's a moment of profound, earth-shattering finality. The place where they built a life, raised children, and dreamed of a future is now just an asset that's been liquidated. The emotional weight of this moment is immense. And a great agent understands that. Their job isn't quite done. They check in. Did the wire hit your account? Do you need a referral for a moving company? Here's the final utility bill. Make sure you take care of it. They provide the final closing documents in a neat digital package for their tax preparer. They don't just disappear. They help their clients cross the finish line and take their first steps into their new separate lives. Selling a home during a divorce is one of the most difficult, emotionally draining experiences a person can go through. It's a financial transaction wrapped in a personal tragedy, and the person you choose to navigate you through it matters more than you can possibly imagine. It's not about finding the agent who sells the most homes in your zip code. It's about finding a specialist, a neutral third party, a skilled negotiator, a patient communicator, a buffer, a project manager, and at times an emotional bodyguard. Someone who understands that they are not just selling a property. They are helping 2 people close a monumental chapter of their lives with as much dignity, fairness, and financial security as possible. Your home was the stage for your shared story. Selling it is closing that book. Make sure the person helping you write that final complicated chapter is someone you can trust, implicitly, to get the ending right. Because your new story, your next chapter, is waiting to begin.